I was messing around with this face rig app, this face rig program, where you can get like an avatar and it like emulates your facial expressions. I thought it was pretty neat. It was pretty fun. I want to see if I can like try play around with making recordings with this thing. All right, let's see how this goes.
Greetings, I am online and I'm on the air, bringing you guys another art blog, because I strongly believe that it's blogging time. So, let's get blogging. I was messing around with rigging in Blender recently and wanted to do an art blog about it. There are about 4 different ways, 4 different avenues you can go in terms of rigging in Blender. You can rig manually from scratch. You can use Blender's built-in meta rig, or use Auto Rig Pro, or you can just export models directly into Mixamo. This is Blender's meta rig. Blender actually has a pre-built character rig that you can snap onto your character models. The problem with using Blender's built-in meta rig is you gotta align all the bones to your character manually. This is a bit tedious and time consuming, although not as taxing as building a rig from scratch. Also, things can go wrong while setting this up. Blender will just give you an unhelpful error. Let me show you some of the errors that I've had with Blender. Some of the unhelpful errors that Blender has given me with the meta rig. Check it out. Rigify error. Bone spine for connect chain. There's an error. Another error that I had. Here's an error. Generation has thrown an exception. Some orgy bone, nose bone was not found. I don't know what that means. Here's another interesting error. I rigged it, but then only pieces of the mesh move and other pieces don't. That's some kind of a skin weight problem. This is the newest one I've had. Like each time I try to rig with a meta rig, I get a different error. Bone heat weighting, failed to find solution for one of them. I think this has something to do, it's somehow related to scaling the mesh or scaling the bones. One or the other. It's somehow related to that. I attempted to select my mesh and apply transformations, rotation and scale and transformations, all transformations, but that didn't seem to like fix the issue. So I don't know. So as you can see, you have to like go in there and like move things manually. It's a little tedious and time consuming, though not as tedious and time consuming as building the entire rig from scratch. That would be even more tedious and time consuming. Yeah, I got an error. Yeah, that didn't work. Well, I got it working in a different file. Let me load it up so you can see it. Rigging test number 6. Allow exception. This is actually a pretty advanced rig. Let me make sure that my undo operations are actually working. I've had like a weird issue with the undo operations. Global undo was not checked. I don't understand why that keeps going off. Pose mode. You have to click on it once you can't group select it. Otherwise, you won't be able to get into pose mode. Pose mode. You see, what's happening here is that one set of limbs is set to IK, right? And the other set of limbs is set to FK. So these guys, on which side is this? The left side? The left side of our body are set to FK, right? And the right side of our body is set to IK. And the controls to adjust the IK FK settings are down over here, I believe. It's set in the middle. I can set to IK. I'll move like an IK or FK, and I can set it to FK, right? And now I can only access the FK controls, which is very stiff and awkward to operate in. But you have those options. And you can also make it stretch. See if I can get like a stretching function going on here. No. And you can also make it stretch, and if you don't want it to stretch like Mr. Fantastic, you just turn off the stretching option. So it's a pretty advanced rig. You can switch between IK, you can switch between IK and FK for all like the different limbs. They all have their own separate controls, and you can toggle on and off the stretching function, this stretching feature. So it's a pretty advanced rig. You can do a lot of things with it. But setting up is at the same time the rig setting this thing up is a little temperamental. If you don't know it's what you're doing, it's easy to break. Like whenever I always like it can be temperamental, but it's also like extremely powerful if you get it to work. And now check out this. I am so confident about the rigging options for Auto Rig Pro that I can like rig the entire character. I think I can rig the entire character within the time frame of this blog. What is wrong with my thing? Opaque. Okay, let's try that again. Wait, I want to take the eyes out first because the eyes will be a rigging issue, I guess you could say. Get selected. Select linked mesh. Separate selection. Select linked. Separate selection. Okay, this is the right eye. C I dot R. I don't understand why. I don't understand this naming convention, but the tutorials I saw said to seem to encourage or motivate using this kind of naming convention. I'm wondering if it works with if this naming convention is specifically supposed to work with the Auto Rig Pro plugin or something like that. Okay, that's that. Oops. Wait. So as you can see, Auto Rig Pro's rigging function features is actually pretty similar to Mixamo. You just place the AutoRig Pro cursor nodes where the arms and head and other body parts are, and AutoRig will generate a rig proportionate to your specified model. Add shoulders. Wrists. Spine root. Ankles. Now for the face setup. Yeah, that should do it. Go. Oh, I need an eye object. Let's go left eye. No. Left eye. Yeah, there you go. Go. This will take a minute. That's IR, object mode, weight paint, IL. Set all, set the weight to 100. Now when you select your rig, these eyes go into pose mode. This eye controller should control the eyes. You see that? Whoops. Whoa. Yeah. So look at this. This is amazing. Like even the face gets rigged, and when you move the eyes, the eyelids move around too. And you can see that there are certain parts that need to be like cleaned up over here, but this is actually really easy to clean. All you have to do is go into the weight paints, right? And you gotta like scroll through your vertex groups and figure out what is causing what you don't want to move, right? And then you just add and subtract the weights. And you just modify it until you just clean up the weights, and then it'll look like magnificent. It's actually not very difficult or taxing or time consuming to do. Whenever you're doing any kind of rigging, no matter what system you're working with, you're probably gonna have to you will more than likely have to clean up weights at some juncture in time. It's unavoidable. Oh yeah, something else. Another thing about working with the AutoRig Pro, you also have the option of switching from IK to FK over here too. So right now this is for kinematics. I can switch it to inverse kinematics. So when I move it, the entire arm moves and bends as opposed to just like a single point. This is The thing stretch too. Oh yeah, look, it stretches too. So you can stretch like you're Mr. Fantastic, like you're Mr. Fantastic, or I forget the other character's name. Something Armstrong. Who would win in a fight? Armstrong or Mr. Fantastic? I think Mr. Fantastic would win. He's smarter. He can outsmart anybody. He's the smartest man in the universe. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in terms of rigging. Um, so that's all for now. If you are new here to the WR Art Blog, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like. And until next time, stay creative and good luck out there because I know it can be tough.